Good afternoon, everybody. This is Steve Fletcher with a trumpet for my people. Today's June 15th, 2022. And a quick update here I want to share with you guys. First and foremost, for those who have not heard my last couple messages, I just want to give you the understanding why I have gone to June 30th and July 1st as my next watch time. And this has to do with after we went past June 13th, which was the weekend of Pentecost, June 11th, 12th, and 13th, I went to the Lord with the sign of Jonah, and I asked him, why are we still here? What is happening with this sign of Jonah? And he said, we need to consider, this is what I feel like the Lord showed me, we need to consider the Hebrew calendar, that this sign was not about the Gregorian calendar of June 11th, but it was about the first of Tammuz, which in 2021, June 11th, 2021, was the first of Tammuz. And so if we translate that to 2022, the first of Tammuz is June 30th, 2022. Now this has to do with the true beginning of summer. We know that in the Gospels, the sign of Jonah is mentioned 4 different times, 2 times in the book of Matthew, 2 times in the book of Luke, and very important understanding that for a wicked generation, the only sign that is guaranteed is the sign of the prophet Jonah. And we had a man last year swallowed by a whale, in the mouth of a whale, spit out of a whale the day after a total solar eclipse. And this has been the reason why I have been consistently focusing on this sign, because I believe this is something that the Lord is going to use to show us this warning that he is giving to us. And so we have been watching this. Now, we were watching through the weekend of June 11th, which was also Pentecost. But now as we look to the Hebrew calendar, the beginning of summer and the first day of Tammuz, we're looking at June 30th and July 1st. And this is connected to summer being near. Now learn a parable of the fig tree. When his branch is yet tender, putting forth leaves, ye know that summer is nigh. So likewise ye, when you shall see all these things, know that it is near, even at the doors. Not only is this used in Matthew chapter 24, but this is also shown to us in Mark 13 and Luke 21. So we have a repetition of the sign of Jonah 4 times, and we have a repetition of summer being near 3 times connected to the parable of the fig tree. Understanding from the Hebrew calendar that Tammuz is the 4th of the 12 months of the Jewish calendar, counting from Nisan, the month of Tammuz begins the season of the summer. The 3 months of this season are Tammuz, Av, and Elul. So we have the spring, which is the first 3 months. We have the summer, which is the second 3 months. The fall is the third 3 months, and the winter is the final 3 months. And this is a true understanding based on the people who actually live in Israel, and this is coming from a Jewish site that shows us that Tammuz is the beginning of summer. So if the sign of Jonah came on the first day of Tammuz, is the Lord speaking to us about this window, the beginning of summer, the beginning of the 4th month, as the time that the Lord would want us to consider? Now, I shared a piece of information earlier about the Star of Bethlehem. And I've got one more piece of information to add to this, but I want to present this to you as a 7-year warning from the Star of Bethlehem of June 30th, 2015. First and foremost, the Star of Bethlehem in and of itself was such an amazing conjunction, so close in the night sky, such a powerful sign that everybody was watching in 2015, together with the blood moon tetrad of 2014 and 2015. We have this Star of Bethlehem. But here's another detail that I looked up today, And as I was talking to a friend today, other people have documented this in the past, but I did not know about this and I didn't remember this, but I wanted to see in relationship to the two blood moons of 2015, where did the Star of Bethlehem land if we're looking at a sign in the midst of these other two signs? Okay, and so what we have is we have Passover of 2015. The blood moon was April 4th, and we have the blood moon over Jerusalem, the super blood moon, which was September 28th. And then if you go between those two eclipses, there's a total of 177 days. And so what I wanted to find out, where is the Star of Bethlehem in the middle? And I was curious, actually, and thinking that this could possibly be the case. And I was quite surprised and very pleased when I saw that June 30th and July 1st is the exact middle point between the two eclipses of 2015. I mean, if we're going to have 2015 as a marker of a 7-year warning, then within 2015, we have another center point, not just the year in itself, but another center point, just like the menorah there, and you have the center candle of the menorah, okay, pointing us exactly to the Star of Bethlehem on June 30th of 2015. So does that add to the validity and the power of the sign itself being quite possibly a 7-year warning? Seeing that it was exactly in between the two blood moon eclipses of the 2015 tetrad. The other piece of information that I had shared with you is the liberation of Jerusalem was actually finalized not just during the 6-day war between June 5th and June 10th, and then the liberation of Jerusalem starting on June 11th, and the new map that was created based on the victory of Israel. But there was another detail that took place, and it actually was on June 29th. Okay? I mean, we were watching Pentecost and the sign of Jonah, June 11th, June 12th. And that is also connected to the capturing of Jerusalem, the restoration of Jerusalem after the 6-day war of 1967 on June 11th. But there was another piece of information that happened on June 29th, and it has to do with the fact that on June 29th, 1967, the city of Jerusalem was reunited as Israeli forces removed the barricades separating East Jerusalem, including the Old City, from the Israeli sector. In other words, the battle was now over. Jerusalem was no longer divided. And now, from June 29th, people were free to move about in all parts of the city because there were barricades separating East Jerusalem from West Jerusalem. Those barricades were removed on June 29th. Okay, so we're watching this year between June 29th, June 30th, and July 1st. It has to do with summer being near, the first day of Tammuz. And this also coincides with Israel recapturing Jerusalem and Jerusalem being reunited on June 29th, 1967. Now, here is another piece of information that I did share this in a short video showing the news item of the child vaccines that are coming now. Right now at the summer solstice, by the end of June, they are hoping now to vaccinate the children from 0 to 5 years old, 5 and under, okay? And Revelation 12:4-5 says, "The dragon stood before the woman which was ready to be delivered, for to devour her child as soon as it was born. And she brought forth a man-child, who was to rule all nations with the rod of iron, and her child was caught up unto God and to his throne." Okay, so I've shared with you many times in the past about the fact that when the dragon comes for the children, this may be the final trigger on the rapture of the church, because it talks about the dragon wanting to devour the child as soon as it was born, and then her child was caught up unto God and to his throne. There's a connection. It seems to be very connected, being that it's one verse after another. There's a continuation, and it looks to me like there's a connection between the dragon devouring the child and the child being caught up to God and to his throne. Okay, now the other thing, and I was talking to a friend today, and we shared about this detail. And just as in the days of Jesus, from the star sign that they saw, when the wise men came to Herod and they saw the star, and they followed the star, and they came to Jerusalem, and they were looking for the king of the Jews, the one that was born, the Messiah that was to come. And when Herod wanted to send out an order to kill the children, okay, he went for the children that were 2 years old and under, connected to the timing when the wise men came following the star 2 years earlier. So the children were 2 years old and under, based on a 2-year difference of the star sign. Okay? Well, right now we're in 2022, and the sign that we were seeing, that we saw in September of 2017, okay, was 5 years ago. And so we have the dragon is coming for the children 5 years and under, because it's the number of years corresponding to the star sign that was in the heavens connected to the arrival of the dragon, Revelation chapter 12. And so now we have 5 years that have gone by, and now they're going to be vaccinating children 5 years and under. The FDA meetings are set for June. The reports are showing that within the next week or two, this will begin. They are getting their final authorization now. Child vaccinations will begin for babies and children under 5 years old. And so the connection that me and my friend, as we were talking on the phone, we said this was a very interesting situation where Herod, based on the star sign, sent to kill the babies 2 years old and younger. And now we have a star sign that was 5 years ago. And they're coming for the babies that are 5 years and younger. Okay, so this is just an interesting piece of information that I wanted to share with you. But this is also pointing to this time right now at the beginning of summer. We know that the Gregorian calendar shows that the beginning of summer is the solstice, June 20th, 21st, and 22nd, somewhere in there. But according to the Hebrew calendar, it would be the beginning of Tammuz. So even for those who are considering that we should be gone before June 30th, we have this window of summer, and summer starts before then. Well, we still have this window of time if we want to, be hopeful. That is fine, between June 20th, 21st, and 22nd. I don't see signs pointing exactly to those days. I am seeing that the connection to the Hebrew calendar, but there's this window. So if we're still here after June 20th, 21st, and 22nd, we have this window of time and this hope that according to the sign of Jonah, according to the Hebrew calendar, June 29th, June 30th, and maybe even at the latest would be July 1st. And then the last piece of information I want to share with you is that according to the Mayan calendar that was used in December of 2012, when they thought that it was going to bring about the end of the world because it was 13.0000, well, on July 1st, 2022, It's 13.0.9.11.19. So we have 91119 at the end of the date count, and it's connected to the number of rebelliousness, 13. Okay, so this is another detail just adding to this time frame. So just wanting to clarify this for everybody and bring about all of this understanding so you can see the validity of why we're watching the first day of Tammuz connected last year to the solar eclipse. As I said, that solar eclipse, even though it was June 10th on the Gregorian calendar, the Hebrew calendar is the first of Tammuz, and that is June 30th of 2022. This is the sign of Jonah. It's the total solar eclipse. It's the Ark of Noah being detained also on the same day last year. And so all of these signs are pointing us to this time frame. And I will continue watching for new and continued signs and leading to this time frame, and I will keep you updated as I always do. And I pray you guys are all blessed. I pray you guys are encouraged. We're still so very close, and I think that the Lord is giving us more and more understanding the closer we get, and we just need to stay faithful and to stay connected to God. And I was just so blessed the other day when I was despairing and discouraged, and I just went to the Lord with a very simple question: what is the meaning of the sign of Jonah? And the Lord clearly spoke to my heart that we need to consider the Hebrew calendar and the true beginning of summer in Israel. And this is why I'm watching June 29th, June 30th, and July 1st for the rapture of the church. I pray you guys are blessed. This is Steve Fletcher with the trumpet for my people, the sign of his coming revealed.